What's up, everybody? Welcome to another Kinstretch class brought to you by Stretch Effect. My name is Coach Luke, and I'll be taking you through today's 25-minute elbow and wrist focused Kinstretch class. Today we'll be focusing on the elbows, not only the rotation, say pronation, supination, but also some flexion and extension, and then we will work on some extension and flexion of the wrist. So let's get right into it. Some elbow cars. So we're going to stay in a collapsed kneeling position, but you can do it from collapsed kneeling, tall kneeling, standing, seated, whatever position is most comfortable for you, and allows you to get the most out of our elbows here. So we're just going to start with our elbows, inside of our elbows pinned to our rib cage. We're just going to come up. We're going to flex the elbows, but as we flex up, we don't want to just have our palms facing this. We're going to try to flex and then rotate. That's called supination. Our palms are facing away from us here. And then we will pronate at the top, come down, rotate back, up, pronate, down. We got one more. We're going to rotate out, supination. As we come up, keep rotating, try to get a little bit more. Pronate, then we'll come back down. From there, we'll just stay down, come up, rotate, down. So we don't want to just lock out the elbows because then we can't fully rotate. So keep slight bend on those elbows. Come up, flex, rotate, down. Let's go one more, rotate over. As we come up, keep trying to get more pronation. So keep trying to show this thing out this way. Come up, supinate, and down. So we're just going to do some elbow capsule cars. So we'll be at 90 here. We're just going to rotate over. So that's pronation, supination. You want to make fists. Make a slightly different feeling out of this here. If you have like two tennis balls, you can also hold on to tennis balls as having something in the hand will just change that sensation a little bit more. We'll come up in a full flexion, so we want to take shoulder blades, shoulders stay stacked, and then just lock in those elbows, try to squeeze the biceps as tight as you can. We'll make fists, and then we'll just go 3 elbow capsule cars from this position. Great one to do if you're getting ready to do that kind of body workout, or if you're like a rock climber, and then you're going to be using a lot of elbow pronation with that bicep kind of flexion, elbow flexion position. And there, we're going to go right to our wrist. So if you want to stay in this position, you can. If you need to shift positions, that's okay. I'm going to go one wrist at a time. I'm going to hold my forearm, so my forearm is straight up and down. Imagine you balancing like your cell phone or a cup of coffee or on top of your forearm. From there, I'm going to go in, extend, as much extension as I can, come out, up, try to keep that hand straight here. So as I come up, try not to curl the fingers, but just try to get that whole hand, this wrist flexion isolated from finger flexion, right? So one more, come up, over the top, back through, and then let's reverse flex, come out, extend, in and up. Let's go 2 more there. Here, just make sure that forearm stays up and down. Last one, extend, up and through, and then let's switch. So we got other forearm here, elbows locked in, and shoulders locked in, and then we're going to come in, extend, out, up, in, extend, out, flexion, one more time. Out. So this is another time where you can just go reverse. If you want to do it from a closed position, that'll feel slightly different. If you want to hold on to a tennis ball. So as you do this class more times, you can play around the position of your hand, or even each set of reps, you can change how your hands are oriented to get a slightly different feel out of that position. So because we're going to be in this position for a little while, if you want to just take a seat, you can sit on your yoga block, or you can just throw it right under if that position is uncomfortable for you. If you want to just, because I have a yoga block available, might as well just make it easy. From there, I'm going to go elbow supination pillows and nails. So I have body locked in. I'm going to go here, and then I'm just going to take the top hand over, and I should say under, but thumb comes over, and then I'm just going to rotate into more supination. Okay, so I'm trying to take my hand, so my hand is up. Now I'm trying to rotate so my hand faces out. We're going to do one set of lower level pillows and rounds here. We're just going to kind of wake up the rotators of the elbows so we can facilitate a little bit more flexion, which is what we'll get into next. So I'm just going to come here, shoulders locked in, make sure I'm only rotating through the forearm, through the elbow, make sure I'm not leaning, make sure I'm not tucking the shoulder out, stay up nice and tall. Get that supination stretch. Just hang out here for a little bit. Just kind of relax and breathe. Let that stretch open up each exhale. And super slow out. Take 4 count in, 8 count out. On the exhale, try to get a little bit more rotation. It's not going to be a whole lot, but you may squeeze out a little bit more. Just in terms of trying to get that palm facing out to the side. So our pails from this position is rotating in. Rails, I'm trying to actively rotate out more. So if you've done the pails and rails with before, you know, you do a 10-second ramp. So we're trying to pronate. We're ramping up the contraction for the first 10 seconds. And then we're going to do a max effort contraction for another 10. And then on rails is a max effort right into max effort 15 seconds. And then we'll relax and we'll just go right to pronation. And then we'll switch arms. Okay? So from here, take a breath in. Full body contraction. Start to slowly try to pronate into the resistance of your hand. Just keep dealing with that contraction. Keep going up for 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and 100%. Try to pronate. Try to turn that palm over. Try to turn that palm in as you go. Keep going. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now rails. Try to rotate away from the resistance of your hand. Right, I'm trying to take my hand out by rotating from the forearm. Make sure nothing else is moving. Make sure I'm not down from the shoulder. Make sure I'm not laterally flexing my spine. Just keep trying to go. We got 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Now let's go right to pronation. You want to shake it out for a second. You can. Feel a lot. If you're doing it right, you can feel a lot in that kind of forearm, maybe even down here, because that's really what we're going for, right? Although we're going for rotations in the elbow joint, you may feel a lot of going on in the forearm, right? Because these muscles, bones that are rotating in that elbow calf, right? So it's going to pronation. Same thing. My hand comes over, thumb over the top. Now I'm trying to rotate into more pronation. Now I'm trying to turn my hand this way. Just kind of gently, just kind of pull in. Make sure the rest of the body stays nice and still. And breathe. Each exhale, moving a little bit more pronation. Sink down deeper into that stretch there. Again, you do this from closed fist. You do it holding a tennis ball. There's really no right or wrong. It's just the position that works best for you, that feels the best, but also just use the position that you need the most. So it's, as long as it's not painful, right? The position is most challenging, right? It's usually what we need. Okay. From here, pails is rotating in a supination. Rails I'm trying to rotate into more pronation. Okay. Let's take a breath in. Solidify the core, solidify the whole body, and then start to rotate into this and put that button that's come over the top. 20%. 30, 40, 50, 60, 70%, 80, 90, and max effort squeeze. Make sure it's coming from the right area. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now rails, try to rotate away from the other hands. Your hands here, I'm trying to rotate into more pronation. You can keep your hand here. You can let it go, but you just want to make sure that you keep that elbow right where it's at. Just rotate with more pronation. Really feel that forearm working here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. You want to do a couple capsule cars. You should really be feeling that kind of lower forearm as you try to rotate over these muscles here and turn that palm over. And shake it out and go right into the other side. So again, elbows at my side, shoulders locked in, thumb comes over the top, and now I'm trying to rotate to supination, kind of turn my palm out to my left side. Just relax, get deeper into the stretch, focus on your breath. Even though it's an elbow pronation, supination, or rotation, you still want to get the full body contraction, go tails and rails. That's just going to help us get more out of the target tissue, in this case it's the elbow. The more we irradiate, the more we can kind of send the contraction to the target area, which in this case is going to be the elbow. And again, with tails and rails, right, we always want to focus on a good contraction, so we're always shooting for about 70% of what's called maximum voluntary contraction here. But in this case, we want to make sure we're caring more about getting rotation in the right area versus going as hard as you possibly can, right? So I'd rather you go slightly less intense, but really focus the control, really focus the contraction into the elbow rotators versus just trying to go maximum effort. this is the first time doing it, it's going to take some practice to make sure you're rotating from the right area. But you know you're doing it right if you're getting a good burn kind of in the forearms here, down more towards like the lower forearm, because that's really going to be what we're working on rotating. But really the focus should be here because that's that elbow capsule that we're talking about. So take a breath in, full body contraction, pack that air down, and start to rotate into the resistance of that right hand. So now we're trying to rotate the pronation here. We're at 30%, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and max effort 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now rails rotating more supination away from the resistance of this right hand, kind of away from that thumb that's come over the top. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Shake it out. Again, right here, right? So everything that's working should get that rotation. We're rotating the bones of the forearm in that elbow capsule, okay? So one more time, we're coming to pronation, so the shoulders stay stacked, chest is straight ahead. You can take it here, so I can take my hand over the top and go this way, or I can do the same way with the other side, which now I'm taking kind of my thumb over the top, and then just pulling into more pronation. Tails, I'm rotating out into supination. I'm trying to rotate into the resistance of the hand. So if you have the hand on the top, your hand is rotating with your hand. Put your thumb here, rotating out. Rails, rotating to more pronation. When we do tails, it's usually 99 times out of 100, it's rotating into the resistance, right? So we're rotating, take my 90-90, we're rotating with the floor, rotating with the hand. And the rails, I'm trying to rotate away from the resistance into my active range, right? So that's going to be, in this case, we're rotating away from my hand, rotating from the resistance, trying to pull this way, and now I'm trying to rotate that way. Okay, keep breath in, walk in the body, and start that post contraction. I'm rotating into supination. I'm trying to rotate into the resistance of my hand. Hands trying to pull me to more pronation. Hands trying to rotate into supination. Let's go down to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Max effort, rotate 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now rails, rotate, 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 rotate in. So we're trying to get more pronation. And kind of slightly lets go, but you can just hold it here. I'm just trying to turn that palm over. I'm trying to rotate it as much as I can. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Shake out those elbows. We're just going to do the capsule cars here, so we can be right to where we do our tails with from. We go here or here, it's up to you. Lock in those elbows, and we're just going to rotate, squeeze out pronation. Hold that here for a second. Supination. 5 reps. Rotate. 2. Rotate. 3. 4. Every time we do our capsule cars, squeeze each end range just for a second or two. Supination. And shake them out. Okay, so now we're going to work on some elbow flexion passive range holds. Okay, so elbow flexion will just be kind of like a bicep curl. Okay, so I'm going to I'll go from the side just to show you what we're going for here, right? So if I'm here, I'm trying to lock in the shoulder. Make sure I'm not doing this. Here, elbow comes up as much as I can. I'm taking my opposite hand, pulling into my passive range, right? So my active range would be about here. You're always going to have a little bit more passive than active. So what I'm going to do, so facing in, I'm going to go find my passive range. So that would be here, as tight to the body as I can. Okay, contraction. Let go. Try not to lose any of that range. Okay, so again, you can do this from the seated position. Just for the sake of a little bit different, we can go from the seated position here. So we can go 1 block to 2. We have 2 blocks. We can go from here. We can go cross-legged. We can go from butterfly. We can go from bear sit. Whatever position suits your fancy. We're going to be here, so I'm going to go from the forearm. Make sure I'm not just going from the hand, right? So we'll go from the forearm, from the wrist. Take myself into my maximum passive elbow flexion. We're going to full body contraction. And hold. 5, 4, squeeze, 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 3, 2, 1, back down. Okay, we got 5 sets of 5-second holds. So we'll find passive range, full body contraction, squeeze that bicep as tight as you possibly can, and hold 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, back in, full body contraction, hold 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You got 2 more there. Make this as tight as you possibly can. Like you're doing the hardest bicep throw of your life. You want to go close fist, you can grab a little bit more tension into that bicep. Contract, hold 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We got 1 more here. Make that bicep cramp here. You want to rotate out a little bit, you can do that as well. Just make sure you stay tight. Squeeze 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Ooh, if you've never contracted your bicep that close before, it's be quite a new experience for you, right? But that's elbow flexion, right? Even though it's happening here, it's happening here, right? Switch arms. You want to really create a full body contraction with as much tension into those elbow flexors, which in this case would be the bicep group. I'm here, hit it from the wrist. Passive range. Take a breath in. Solidify, squeeze, and hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And 1. Contract. Hold. 5. Don't any range. 4, 3, 2, 1, 2. Try to keep that active contraction as close to the passive as you can. Contract. Hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2 more. Squeeze and hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Last one. Get it close, get it close. Try to touch your shoulder with your forearm or with your hand, your wrist. Squeeze and hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Stretch out for a second. Ooh, never, like I said, never contracted that close before. Usually that's what creates those kind of crampy feelings, right? It's contracting fringes. We're not used to it, right? So the hamstring, if you've done a class with the hamstring before, you have to know what contracting that very close knee flexion position feels like. So it's essentially the same idea for the bicep, okay? So we're gonna finish with some wrist work here. So we're gonna go just into wrist extension. So we're gonna take this hand right across the front of my body. I don't want to go just from the fingers, but kind of go more like base of my palm, so like the pad of my hand here. And I'm just going to find wrist extension. I'm just going to take myself into my stretch. Breathe. Good one that you can do not only in this class, but also if you're, if you're sitting at a desk, you're sitting on a plane, if you're sitting in traffic. Of course not. Make sure you're not moving, of course, but make sure that you're in a good place and you can do more wrist extension work. Most people need more wrist extension. A lot of times, carpal tunnel, that kind of feeling you get here. We spend a lot of time with those muscles contracted here and wrist flexion. Really work to open up those fingers, open up the palm, and get a good wrist extension stretch. If you like to do push-ups, if you like to do a lot of hand balancing, handstands, that kind of stuff. Making sure you have adequate wrist extension is key. Making sure those wrists aren't, you're not jamming into those joints. Okay, so tails and rails here. So tails, I'm pressing right hand, gas pedal down into my left hand. Rails, I'm trying to actively pull away to more wrist extension. Okay, take a breath in, full body contraction, and start driving right hand into my resistance of my left. Build up that contraction. We're at 20%, 30%, 40%, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and 100% effort. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now rails, trying to pull the right hand away from the resistance of the left hand. Max contraction, you should feel all this stuff working here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Very good. So right wrist extension, now to the left. Hands go directly on the chest. Base of my right hand, the resistant hand, goes right to the pad of my left hand, which is the working arm, and then we're just going to find wrist extension on the left. If you've done pills and rails before, you know the typical passive stretch for pills and rails would be about 2 minutes. We're not going to go quite that long today. We're just going to work on finding the stretch, relaxing, breathing into it, and working some pills and rails from that position. Typically, like I said, you want to do about a 2-minute stretch, but doing some stretch with the pills and rails is better than not doing it at all if stay in your mind for 50 enough time. Getting some low-level stretching, getting some activation in that area throughout your day is going to be definitely better than not doing it at all, and then you have a little bit more time to do stretch. Okay? Take a breath in, full body contraction, start pressing your left hand into the resistance of your right. Start driving down, we're at 20, 30, build it up, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and 100%, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rails, pull the left hand away, try to extend more, feel wrist, feel elbow, feel all, it's called a regressive tissue, contracting for work, keep going, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, stretch, very good, and now we're going to go into flexion. Right hand comes down, now I'm going to take this hand across, right over here, so now we're in flexion. Breathe, the shoulders drop down, we got this flexion on the side, all day. Let's do some wrist bars, of course. Always want to follow your pills and rails work, even if it's low level pills and rails, it's wrist bars. You kind of think of it as like you're creating a window of opportunity, creating some motion in the joint, and then by doing some cars, doing some just movement with that joint, you're using that opportunity, you're helping, think of it as like you're uploading the information to your nervous system, you're hitting save on the document, if you will, so then you can actually use that motion in the future. So take a breath, lock in, and start to press your right hand, your flexed hand, into the resistance of your left. If you're trying to extend the wrist, we're at 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and max effort squeeze 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now rails, pull, 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 pull. So feel aggressive angle, in this case will be bottom of my forearm, inside of my wrist here. 5, 4, pull off that hand, 3, 2, 1. Find a deeper flexion, stretch. And last one, we're going to go left hand flexion, left wrist flexion, I should say. Right hand comes to the top of my left hand. Breathe into that stretch, right? We don't want to be holding our breath here every time we stretch. Really just want to be working as much relaxation practice as I can, right? So that's why it's a great opportunity for us to get in touch with our body, the breath, slow everything down, really take a good scan of how you're feeling, how the joint's feeling. Through your pills and rails, you contract into the area that you really need to contract into, and that's going to get the most out of this. The last one here, breath in, contract, and start driving the left back of your hand into your right hand. We're at 10%, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80%, 90%, and 100% upward. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now rails, pull left hand into more flexion away from the resistance of the right hand. Contract bottom of the forearm, contract wrist, squeeze, squeeze. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and find your stretch. And relax. So let's finish with some double arm wrist bars. So if you've done wrist bars before, the double arm can be a little bit more challenging because now we got 2 wrists to focus on. We're really just trying to stay locked in with the elbows. We go here, here, hold some tennis balls like we talked about in the class are all great options. And here we go, hands in towards the midline towards each other. Extend, feel that tissue that we were just working on with those rails. Come up, in, down, up, in. So now we're here. out, or sorry, down, in, up, out, down, in. Woo! That is it for today's 25-minute elbow rotation, flexion, and wrist extension, flexion, focused Kinstretch class. Thank you for joining me today. And again, the more you can practice those things, the more you can do your carves, the more you can practice even just lower level pills and rails for the wrist, for the elbows, the better things will feel. The more rotation, the more movement we can get into each individual joint, the better those joints will feel, the better the joints will perform in anything that you do. So again, thank you for joining me in today's class. Hope to see you out next.